a world where lies and disrespect for human dignity are becoming more common, we started the Tucker Carlson Network with one goal in mind: to tell the truth. Tucker Carlson is a name that makes people talk, whether it's because of his sharp wit or his brave opinions. He is one of America's most famous journalists, and his career has been marked by influence, controversy, and undeniable success. From his expensive homes to his unique way of balancing fame and family, Carlson's lifestyle offers a. Let's take a look at Tucker Carlson's life and see how he manages his huge wealth. Tucker Carlson is one of America's most famous reporters and TV hosts, and his success has earned him a fortune of $30 million. He makes most of his money from hosting his hit Fox News show Tucker Carlson Tonight, but he's also famous for writing books. Tucker's writings about politics and culture have helped his career and made him a little more money. Besides his work, he has some interesting hobbies and interests that show a mix of modesty and indulgence. For someone who usually comes across as a down-to-earth guy, his love of cars really stands out. Tucker may not spend a lot of money on fancy homes, but he's all in when it comes to his rides. According to Net Worth, Tucker has built up an impressive collection of cars over the years. Along with sleek and stylish cars like the BMW 440i, the Genesis G70, and the Audi S5, but the real showstopper is his Porsche Panamera, which is also his most expensive car to date. This mix of practicality and luxury fits with Tucker's public persona, which is practical but with a taste for the finer things in life. But Tucker's interests don't just include politics and expensive cars. He's also a die-hard fan of the legendary progressive rock band, the Grateful Dead. Growing up in San Francisco, a city that is associated with Tucker's deep connection to the band's music isn't a surprise, but it is surprising how much of a superfan he is. Tucker hasn't been shy about his love for the Grateful Dead. In interviews and personal stories, he's talked about meeting the legendary band member Jerry Garcia, listened to interviews with other band members, and even used the band's legacy in his own stories. Variety reports that Tucker has seen more than 70 Grateful Dead concerts. Anyone who loves music knows that going to concerts costs a lot of money and takes a lot of time, but for Tucker, the experience is worth every penny, given how much he is worth. What else has Tucker invested his money in? Tucker Carlson likes to buy stunningly beautiful homes in peaceful places, like the beaches of South Florida or the deep woods of northern Maine. He has also bought homes on busy Washington, D.C. city blocks in the past. Let's take a closer look at the places Carlson has called home. In the small village of Boca Grande, Florida, on the beautiful Gasparilla Island, he has not one but two impressive homes. His first purchase in the area was a 4-bedroom, 4 to 5 bathroom, multi-level home in January 2020 for $2,900,000. This 2,870 square foot house from the 1960s is hidden behind a curtain of trees, mostly palm trees. The house has Tazo floors, a cypress wood finish, and a fireplace. The kitchen has been updated to add to the sophisticated feel of the house. Outside, there is a beautiful courtyard pool, and just across the street is a separate 1-bedroom guest cottage that adds to the charm. But Carlson didn't stop there. He also bought the house across the street in August 2022 for $5 million. Just like its neighbor, this house was built in the 1960s and is a bit smaller, with 3 bedrooms, 3 to 5 bathrooms, and 2,800 square feet. It's no secret that Carlson likes the laid-back atmosphere of this small Florida community. When he's not enjoying the hot weather in Boca Grande, he heads north to Woodstock, Maine for a more temperate climate. This quiet, wooded, rural town on the edge of Oxford County near Bryant Pond has been a favorite summer vacation spot for many years. Carlson bought a house here in September 2020 to enjoy the peace and tranquility of Maine's forests. Interestingly, Carlson also bought another building nearby, reportedly for $30,000, to turn it into a broadcast studio so he could make his shows without leaving his beloved state of Maine. It's not clear what the future holds for this project, but the property is still well kept by a local groundskeeper whenever Carlson decides to stop by before buying his current home. Carlson lived in the middle of Washington, D.C. and only owned 2 homes. His first home, a large 7-bedroom, 4.5-bathroom house built in 1941, was sold in September 2017 for just over $2,400, making him a small profit. His second home, which was only a mile away from his first home and had 5 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, and a 7,400 square foot mansion, was bought for $3,895,000 in 2011, but he only made a small profit when he sold it in July 2020 for $3,900,000. The homes were both very similar, with red front doors, classic columns, and symmetrical window designs that gave them a timeless charm. How did Tucker get so rich? Tucker Swanson McKeer Carlson, born May 16, 1969, is one of the most famous people in American media, known for his strong conservative views and unapologetic commentary. Carlson made headlines as the host of Tucker Carlson Tonight on Fox News, a job he held from. After Carlson abruptly quit Fox News in 2016, he didn't disappear from public view. Instead, he turned away from traditional media and began appearing on independent platforms, where he continued to reach his loyal audience through shows like Tucker on X and The Tucker Carlson Show. Carlson has always been a strong supporter of Donald Trump and has often defended his policies and beliefs. Many have called him the loudest voice for Trumpism and the most. Carlson has been a very controversial figure in right-wing media. His views have hit home with some while drawing harsh criticism from others. Carlson's views are at the heart of the white grievance politics, which many people consider to be a very controversial style of political discourse. Carlson's career in media began in the 1990s, long before he became famous. He started by writing for conservative magazines like the Weekly Standard and quickly became known as a smart political commentator. In the early 2000s, Carlson made his TV debut as a co-host on CNN's debate show Crossfire, where his heated arguments became a trademark of the show. He then went to MSNBC to host a nightly show called Tucker from 2005 to 2008, and he finally settled down at Fox News in 2009. At Fox, Carlson first appeared as a political commentator on a number of shows. By 2016, he had started his own show, Tucker Carlson Tonight, which quickly became one of the most popular cable news shows in the U.S. and had a reputation for defying. Carlson's show has helped spread far-right ideas and put them at the center of both liberal and conservative debates. However, Carlson's career hasn't been without controversy over the years. He's been criticized for spreading conspiracy theories about things like immigration, the January 6th Capitol attack, and even Ukrainian bioweapons. He's also been accused of making up or misrepresenting information in order to sway political debate, which has led to some very heated arguments. Concerning Carlson's comments about race, immigration, and women, he has been called racist and sexist. His show has been heavily criticized and advertisers have stopped buying from him. In April 2020, Fox News fired Carlson and ended his show, sparking a lot of speculation about why. Reports say that Lan Murdoch, CEO of Fox Corporation, made the final call, and Carlson left after a high-profile defamation suit was brought against him. Fox News had to pay a $787,500 settlement because it was found that network hosts, including Carlson, made false claims about how Dominion voting machines worked. Despite these setbacks, Carlson's influence is still undeniable. Outside of TV, he has written 3 books: Politicians, Partisans, and Parasites in 2003, Ship of Fools in 2018, and The Long Slide in 2021. Each of these books gives his unique take on politics and culture. In 2010, he co-founded the Daily Caller. Carlson's political evolution has also gotten a lot of attention. He used to be a strict economic libertarian, but now he fights for business protection against free trade and unfair policies that hurt American workers. It's worth noting that Carlson publicly changed his mind about supporting the Iraq War in 2004 and has since been critical of US involvement in other countries. His relationship with Donald Trump has been complicated. Many of Trump's policies had his full support, but Carlson wasn't afraid to criticize the former president when he thought Trump had strayed from his core beliefs. Carlson is said to have had a hand in making some important decisions during Trump's presidency, such as canceling a plan to attack Iran and firing National Security Advisor John Bolton. Carlson's influence goes beyond the United States. He has often defended Russian President Vladimir Putin, and in February 2024 became the first Western journalist to do so since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022. This move cemented his reputation as a controversial and unpredictable journalistic voice. What was the famous journalist's childhood like? Tucker McNear Carlson was born in the Children's Hospital in San Francisco, California, and grew up in a mixed-race family. His rise to fame began on sunny streets in California. Although things didn't always go as planned, Tucker was the oldest child of Lisa McNear, an artist from San Francisco, and Dick Carlson, a man who had many jobs throughout his life. Dick started out as an intrepid gonzo reporter and later became director of Voice of America, president of the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, and U.S. ambassador to the CELS. Most recently, he has been a director at the lobbying firm Policy Impact Strategic Communications. Tucker's younger brother Buckley Carlson was born almost 2 years ago. Years later, Tucker went into communications and Republican political operations. Tucker's father, Dick, was born in his teens to Richard Bond and Dorothy Anderson. He was adopted at 2 years old by Carl and Florence Mager, a wealthy couple from New England. Carl was an executive at the historic Winslow Brothers Smith Tannery in Norwood, Massachusetts, which is the oldest tannery in America. Dick Carlson lived a pretty good life, but his family history has always been complicated. On his mother's side, Tucker's pedigree is also a story of wealth and tradition. His great-great-grandfather Henry Miller was known as the Cattle King, and was a very important figure in the early days of the American ranching business. On the other hand, Tucker's great-great-grandfather Caesar Lombardi moved to New York from Switzerland in 1860, adding a touch of Italian-Swiss heritage to his family tree. Tucker's full name honors ancestors like his great-great-grandfather George W. McNear and his great-great-grandmother J.C. Tucker. Tucker's early family life was full of upheaval. His parents, Lisa and Dick, split up in 1976 after 9 years of marriage. When Tucker was 6 years old, his mother left the family and went to live in France, leaving his brothers behind. Dick Carlson took full custody of Tucker and Buckley and raised them in La Jolla, a beautiful home. La Jolla Tucker grew up in a coastal neighborhood in San Diego, California. He went to La Jolla Country Day School and lived in a house with a view of La Jolla Beach and tennis club. Tucker's father owned properties in Nevada, Vermont, and even islands in Maine and Nova Scotia. However, Dick Carlson also had problems. For example, he ran for mayor of San Diego in 1984 but lost, and in 1979 he married Patricia Carolyn Swanson, a Swanson Enterprise employee, even though Patricia had a history of the wealthy Swanson family. Their business had been sold to the Campbell Soup Company before they joined forces. This combination also brought wealth and opportunities to the Carlson clan. Patricia took Tucker and Buckley into her extended family by joint care and officially adopted them. Tucker's educational journey was varied and unusual. For a short time, he went to college at a French-speaking boarding school but was reportedly kicked out. He then went on to complete. Tucker went to St. George's School in Rhode Island for high school and started dating the headmaster's daughter, Susan Andrews, who would later become his wife. After graduating from St. George's, Tucker went to Trinity College in Hartford, Connecticut, and graduated with a BA in history in 1991. While he was there, he made an interesting and controversial entry in his yearbook saying that he was a member of the Dan White Society, which was a reference to the killers of San Francisco Mayor George Moscone and Supervisor Harvey. The Washingtonian for its wit and storytelling. How a Selfish Ruling Class is Bringing America to the Edge of Revolution, which came out in October 2018 and topped the New York Times bestseller list, was a runaway hit. 30 Years in American Journalism, which came out in August 2021, was a look back at his 30-year career in the media, reflecting ways and thoughts from the point of view of a journalist. Chadwick Moore, a commentator, wrote a biography of Tucker that came out in 2012. Carlson worked with Moore and gave Moore more than 100 hours of interview time to use as material for the book. The goal was to give Carlson's version of the narrative, especially when it came to talking about his leaving Fox News. However, the book didn't get much attention at first. It only sold a few thousand copies in its first week. What do you think of Tucker Carlson's lifestyle? Let us know in the comments.